Good morning, everybody. Testing 1, 2, 3. We are back. Let me turn that down just a touch. Testing the microphone. Yeah, we are there. Sorry, we had camera problems yesterday. We have audio problems today, but we appear to be back and working. And welcome back to another sub $100,000 day. It is Crypto Warehouse. We are live at 11 a.m. It is the 11th of March as well. We've got a lot to get through, haven't we? I haven't changed the title of the show today, See You at $74,000, simply because I am not sure we have finished. Now, we could very well have the bottom, but we've got too much news coming up to absolutely say that we have that. But we did do one of the things I said yesterday, we did yesterday, and that was close the CME gap, which I'll show you in a minute. However, we have CPI data coming out tomorrow, and if that comes in hot, we are in, I think, a world of pain, and we're going to come down again to, as I said, $74,000. But we'll go through that in a minute. We're going to talk about Michael Saylor buying more Bitcoin. He is buying the dip. We're going to talk about the Move ETF and why Move had an ETF. I'm also going to show you what I think will also get ETFs in the future. We're going to talk about, ETH. We're going to talk about XRP. We're going to talk about Sol. We're going to talk about X-Rated, the issues that have gone on there. And then we are going to talk about where I think we're going to go in the next 2 or 3 weeks. Now, of course, nobody has the crystal ball. I certainly don't have a crystal ball. I have been saying that we're going to go to all-time highs in the next 6 to 8 weeks. And until something dramatic changes, I don't see me changing my opinion. And that sounds absolutely crazy considering where we are now. But I said this at $49,000. $49,000, I said, this is not the end. And I don't think this is the end of the bull run. I think we are going to go on to bigger and better things. Does that mean that I'm going to be right and we're going to be at $114,000 on March the 31st? Probably not. Could we see $100,000 in April? Yes. A long time between now and then for the markets to change. Remember, this is not a crypto correction. This is a market correction, a macro correction. You need to take things into a more holistic point of view instead of sitting there and having Solana and wondering why your Solana is going down, or having ADA and wondering why ADA is going down. These are not crypto-specific problems that we've got now. These are market problems. Anyway, a few good mornings. Kishan is in chat. KB is here. Velvet Rope is here. Hidden Agendas is here. Remember, as well, last night, or yesterday, should I say, the Oracle himself, he had KB on the show last night. I don't know how long it went on for, about an hour and a half maybe. I watched probably the first 45 minutes last night, and all I can say is that KB is a natural. He's very good, very well spoken. It's great to actually have somebody from the community on the show. It was great to hear. Brogan did an amazing job hosting the show, asked all the right questions, asked all the questions everybody wanted to know, and KB did an amazing job of answering them. So thank you, KB, for appearing on the show. I'm sure you and Brogan will do something, or the Oracle, should I say, will do something in the future. Now then, let's move on. Where are we? We're coming in at just over 81,000. Ethereum below $2,000. I had my targets for Ethereum, $1,700 and $1,900 for Ethereum I had on the downside. We had 78, 76 and 74,000 on the downside for Bitcoin. We pinged the top one of them yesterday. XRP hanging on to $2. That $2.50 where it was hanging around for a while, we've now fallen below that, but we're still over $2. BNB is on the slide a little bit, and Solana is hanging on to the last level. I think it's the last level I've got. A lot of coins are looking into the abyss. I think a lot of coins are contemplating their very existence at this moment in time, as I'm sure many of you are. And I'm here to be, as I say, I try to be the voice of balance, the voice of reason. And remember, I probably never told you before, I am Libran. If you believe in star signs, which I know many people don't, then I am one. I am supposed to be a force of balance. So when we go through the roof, you're not going to see me overly excited. And when we go through the floor, you will also see me not mightily depressed. One thing I do in times like this is I don't really make too many project videos. So I'm not going to make too many videos about altcoins or meme coins or DeFi projects because maybe it's not the right time to be buying into some of those. We could still see further downside. If you're dollar cost averaging into Solana, XRP, ADA, fine. Bitcoin, fine. Ethereum, fine. But I'm not going to come out here and say you need to go and look at Doge, Elon, DeFi, for example. That's not what we're going to do. Right, we have a few gainers. Movement is up on the news that we're going to talk about. Mantle is up. Curve, Aptos, Mantra has done pretty well out of this. Now, I've got a mining stake going on at the minute, which is mining me Mantra. I don't normally do those kind of things. But I've staked about 10, 12 ETH or something like that. And it's farming me Mantra, which is the one coin I've not been able to get hold of throughout this entire bull run. So when it was at 90 cents, I couldn't buy it. I didn't have it on an exchange that I had to buy the coin. And then it got listed, which I thought was too late for me to buy in. And now there's a farm available, which is paying, I don't know, 12% or something like that. So I'm earning decent Mantra at the minute. A few other gainers in there, and then the stable coins and losers. It's a sea of red. It breaks my heart to see AASI down here, FET down here. This should be upwards of $4 or $5. It's not. Everything is bleeding, but that is down. I think that's a really good price for FET. I think I bought into FET at 30 cents. And I think I remember saying when we got to about $2.50, $3.50, something like that, I'd 10x'd. But I'm not holding for now, or last month or the month before. I'm holding for October, November, and that's when I will be selling up. Lots of losers. Uniswap is down, Pith is down, ENS is down, Gala is down. Lots of tokens associated with Ethereum. Lots of layer 2s are down. Ethereum has taken an absolute hammering. Now, I'm going to show you a trick to fend off the evil spirits, okay? This is what you need to do. Go to your cupboard and get yourself a slice of bread. That's what you need to do today. And then go and stand at your window, okay? And find the nearest bear and throw that bear your slice of bread. Let's just have one replay of that, shall we? There you go. The bear catches the bread. Feed the bear bread. Don't feed the bear your portfolio. Do not sell and capitulate now. Okay? If this is the end of the bull run, it's broken every cycle. If this is a totally different type of cycle, fine. But until we find some serious breakdowns, this is the 30% correction. 30% correction from the top that we had is about 74,000. We've not come down there yet. That's why it's one of my targets. And also 74,000 just so happens to be the 2024 high-ish. So until we break that, until we come down into the high 60s, we don't need to worry. But what we do need to worry about, if we hit 66,000, Michael Saylor is in a whole world of pain. And that would cause a massive black swan, and that would be the end of the bull run. If Saylor and Strategy B were liquidated, that would absolutely kill everything, okay? Mantra is very good, yes. Good morning, Tariq, and everything else. Okay, back to some positive news. Now, I know myself and KB differ an awful lot on the charts and the news in terms of which comes first, chicken or egg. But I'm a firm believer that when you have companies countries, nation states, blue chip organizations buying Bitcoin on a daily and monthly basis, that whether you look at the charts or whether you look at the news is irrelevant. The people with the money to buy the Bitcoin are buying the Bitcoin. Whether that be this entire list of companies down here. Now remember, probably a year ago, maybe 18 months ago, there were only 30 or 40 companies on this list. And now this is the top 70 companies on this list. So within 12 months, we've added potentially 50 or 60 companies to this list. And of course, you're going to recognize the majority of them there. Strategy, 500,000 Bitcoin. Marathon, Riot, both mining companies hold a lot of Bitcoin. Tesla, of course, hasn't sold theirs. But then you have a raft of new companies, not just in America. You've got some German companies in there, some Japanese companies in there. Remember, this is not about short-term pumps. This is not about noise or the present market conditions. This is trying to see past where we are today to see where we're going to be in 6, 12 months' time, 24 months' time. And one thing you shouldn't be doing is capitulating on Bitcoin. Okay? If you want to capitulate, go and capitulate on a meme coin. Don't capitulate on Bitcoin. The market forcing the Fed. Now, this is the one thing I mentioned or alluded to, I think on Monday. And that is, the markets are absolutely rattling. And I'm going to show you a chart in a minute. The markets are rattled. Everything is looking poor. And the Fed, the FOMC meeting that's coming up, that can bring some relief to the market. We can see an interest rate cut. But all eyes are on tomorrow, which is the CPI. The CPI inflation data comes out tomorrow, expected 3%. If we come in at 2.9 or 2.8%, which is very, very unlikely, then I'm certain we're going to get a rate cut. If we come in at 3.1%, we are not going to get a rate cut, and that's when I think we'll see 74,000. I think we're going to see more downside. Quantitative tightening has not finished. The money printer has not been turned on, and it won't be turned on while interest rates are so high. So we need this domino effect of lower inflation. Chairman Powell can then argue that an interest rate cut is viable because inflation is coming down and the markets have time to recover. So an interest rate cut is likely if inflation is lower. But the markets are not reacting well. And I think Larry Fink said yesterday, the day before, we're probably looking at 6 to 9 months more. Now, 9 months out from where we are is December. We think the all-time high at Crypto Warehouse is going to be November. Could we see a nice confluence by November, December? Maybe. And maybe the cycle just runs. Maybe everybody's wrong. Maybe we run till March next year. But until we break some of the fundamental cycle elements, I don't see that. Trump has told Jerome Powell to cut interest rates. Powell didn't do it. Now Trump is trying to force Powell to cut interest rates by crashing asset prices. We will see who blinks first. I mean, I don't know how much truth in that is. I mean, I've just said that that's what I think is happening. But I don't think Trump is doing it on his own. I think the market is pricing in inflation. El Salvador just bought the Bitcoin dip again and added to their strategic reserve. What is so funny about El Salvador is they've just got themselves an IMF loan. And with that IMF loan, they said that they weren't going to have Bitcoin as what's the word for it now? A legitimate currency in El Salvador, and to stop buying Bitcoin. They got the loan and continue to buy Bitcoin. Let that be a lesson to everybody. Now then, this I think is going to show you the one bit of good news. which again, I know a lot of people have no idea what these things are, but these are the CME gaps. And when it finally loads, here we go. So there are presently 2 recent CME gaps. Now, a CME gap is the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, and it closes at 5 o'clock on a Friday and opens at 9 a.m. on a Monday. We had a gap form way back in November, and that CME gap has been open from November until yesterday. And as you can see here, it is now closed. The next most recent CME gap is at $85,000 to $87,000. So if I was a betting man, which I am not, I would bet on at some point us going to $86,000 to $87,000 to close that gap. We are close enough to it. We are $4,000 away, 5% away. Okay, that's the next CME gap, and that is possibly where we go for some short-term relief. Okay, I mean, we are a long way from getting back above the bull market support band, the moving averages. We're a long way from that. And to the downside, we have, why have we got that listed there? That shouldn't be that line. Oh, that's a different chart. Okay, getting all that one. So we'll look at the Bitcoin chart a bit later on. But the CME gap closed yesterday. I said yesterday that it was likely to close, and it did. And that's the first of my 3 targets to the downside. Now, if that's the bottom, fantastic. We go back up. 86, 87,000, 88,000, whatever. We go back up. We have to see the CPI data. We have to wait for Powell to give his talk. We have to wait for the FOMC interest rate decision. Those things are coming up this week and next. So we're not out the woods yet. Yes, we're back at nearly 82,000. Yes, we could be at 88,000. But again, I'll show you on the Bitcoin chart. We are so not out of the woods. We are going to have relief rallies. We are going to get oversold. We are going to bounce. But we have to do a little bit more than bounce. We have to move up. Now then, I'm not going to go through all of this. This is like dishwater. I don't want to talk about it, but I'm going to bring your attention to it. There is something called a crypto sprint, a spring sprint towards crypto clarity. Now, again, the Americans are very good at some things. They are absolutely shocking at coming up with names for things, okay? A spring sprint, you can't say that if you've had more than 1 glass of wine, number 1. And number 2, why is it a spring sprint towards crypto clarity? That is like saying she sells on the seashore. Just call it the crypto spring. I don't know. Anyway, what the point of this is they've got a load of very clever people from loads of very clever security firms to come in and sit down with Hester Peirce and other members of the SEC. Now, the reason I'm bringing this to your attention is this is the first one, as far as I'm aware, that involves the SEC and members of the crypto community and security firms. So this is massively bullish. These types of meetings are going to start happening every fortnight, every month, and they're going to get boring, and I'm going to stop telling you about them. But to start with, I am showing you on March the 21st, which is 10 days from now, they will be meeting at the SEC to discuss crypto clarity, which is regulations. Okay? The 3 tenets of crypto warehouse: regulation, interoperability, and adoption. They are the 3 tenets. And as I keep saying, now I know I've made the anagram of it, you just need to give crypto air to breathe. Adoption, interoperability, and regulation. We are getting adoption. We are getting regulation. And it's up to the likes of Cardano, XRP, Solana, Ethereum, and Bitcoin to work on interoperability. Have one wallet that works across all of the chains. Have DeFi platforms that work across all of the chains. Games, that's interoperability. And they are the 3 tenets that we've had. We had two, admittedly, and then interoperability was added because that's the way things were. Chainlink started to offer CCIP. We've had Polygon. We've now got different chains starting to interact with each other. Wormhole came about. All of these things have happened in the last 2 years. So that's why we added on interoperability. Now, Saylor is going to buy another $21 billion of Bitcoin. So while you are feeding the bears with your bags, Michael Saylor is buying. What will buying $21 billion do? It will add to his 500,000 Bitcoin stash. That is what he is doing. And there was a very good post over the weekend about this, where we were talking about what Bitcoin means to Michael Saylor, what he's going to try and do, and basically he's going to make a Bitcoin bank, or that's how you can interpret it. But a Bitcoin liquidity pool is what he's going to do for blue chip companies. That's his plan. So they're going to buy 21 billion by selling their stock, the STRK stock. The announcement comes amid a turbulent market. They've got just under 500,000, valued at 41 billion. So they're going to buy 21 billion. 21 billion Bitcoin into Saylor's hands. Since the day he bought Bitcoin, he's never once sold his Bitcoin. Since the day I bought Bitcoin, I sold a fraction of Bitcoin to pay for the 2021 Christmas. That was what, 4 years ago, sorry. Losing track of time. That's the only time I've ever sold Bitcoin. Bitcoin sits in my wallet and I accumulate it over time. It doesn't matter if it's 10,000 Satoshis, 100,000 Satoshis, or 1 million Satoshis. I accumulate it over time. That's simply how I stack my Bitcoin. My Ethereum is now earning me Mantra. My Ethereum is staked on some of the exchanges, and my Ethereum is making me a yield. Can't get that with Bitcoin. My Solana is staked with the platform, and it's also on Camino. So I'm earning yield from some of my assets, and once in a while I switch that into Bitcoin, and that's not been a bad move over the last 2 years, certainly. So he's buying Bitcoin. Right now, you can literally buy it for a song and dance. That's the opportunity. The risk is that you wouldn't want the Saudis to buy it first, or the Russians, or the Chinese, or the Europeans. And there's only room for one nation state to buy up 20% of the network. And obviously, I think it should be the USA. He said this yesterday. I think it will be the United States. It's a way for us to enrich ourselves and emerge as a creditor nation in a matter of a decade. It's also a way for us to ensure that we're the economic leaders in cyberspace. Now, there is a really, really clever conspiracy theory about this, which is that America swaps its debt for Bitcoin, devalues its currency, which devalues its debt, and then pays off its debt with Bitcoin whilst dumping Bitcoin and then wiping out the Chinese and the Russians. It's a crazy theory. It's why you like watching conspiracy theories, because they have some level of it's seated in a tiny bit of truth, as in it could happen. Now, what backs up stablecoins? US treasuries back up stablecoins. So is it in the Americans' best interest to have a lot of buyers for their treasuries? Yes. So stablecoins buy them, stablecoins hold them. So Bitcoin goes up, people sell for stablecoins, which are holding their treasuries. So it supports the American financial system. Now, this is what I want to show you. This is the S&P. Now, this is the S&P. Is it Standard & Poor? I think it is 500 companies. Now, where is it? There it is. Look at that. Dump. Now, if we add Bitcoin to this, just to show you, okay? This is a rough guide to show you what is happening, okay? Can we see what is happening? Bitcoin is not outside of the influence of the macro, inflation, and everything else. Right, let's get rid of that now. There we go. So Bitcoin isn't outside of that. Bitcoin suffers the same way as everything else does. Now, we can't get away from that. No matter how much we want to talk about how well Bitcoin has been doing, how much, like I said, if we go back to this time last year, we were coming in here at 73,000. That's the peak of last year. We are 10% higher than we were this time last year. Not as much as we were when we were at 106,000. We're obviously 50% higher than we were last year, but we've corrected to the downside. And again, it's not a case of we are coming back down and this is the bear market, okay? Now, we've got these targets for us to hit, one of which we hit yesterday, 78,000, and we've bounced from it. But the next target is to come down to the 2024 high, which is coming in at about 74,000. That's the next level down. If we wanted to come down and really, now I'm not saying we're going to come down here, okay? But that line down there, 69,000, that's the previous all-time high. Now, I've said quite a few times that in a bear market, we come down to touch our previous all-time high. And then we bounce. So if we go back to July 2023, for example, we came down to 16,000. What was the previous all-time high before that cycle? It was 18,000. We are coming down towards our previous all-time high. So does that now mean we are in a bear market? I don't think so, because we're still a long way from it. But we're not far off. We're 12,000 off. And, I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it. And I'm not saying we can't hit 69,000, but I think we have some serious levels of support before we get there. 78 was the CME gap. That wasn't a serious level of support. That's just something that we always close. As I've said to you, 85 to 87,000 is the next CME gap. That's likely to get filled. So for me, if we break this 74,000 mark and start coming down, then I think I'm going to be worried that we're going to go to 69,000. And I'm not going to sugarcoat that, as I said. But we just need either April, May, June, July, whichever month it is, we need a turn in the macro to get us going. We are not going to go to $250,000 without QE. We are not going to go to $250,000 without interest rates coming down. And we're not going to go to 250,000 with America potentially in a recession. So all of those things are still on the table, okay? And it's post-election year. Everybody keeps telling me post-election years we drop. But if you look at every Q1, we have gone up at the end. And then at the beginning of Q2, we also go up. Now, if the markets have slid, and maybe we slide into April and May, so be it. But it's not over yet. And I might sound really bearish right now, but I don't mean to sound really bearish. I just think that whenever we think we're going to go down, massively go down, we don't. And I said that, in fact, before we leave the page, this wick here, this was the wick I think seriously finished a lot of people off in crypto. Everybody was panicking because nobody thought we were going to break below 50,000, and we did. We just need a miracle. What's the CME gap? The CME gap is the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, and obviously it's in America, and it's open 9 a.m. I think to 5 p.m. Monday to Friday. So if the price of Bitcoin is 100,000 at 5 p.m. on Friday, and the market opens at 90,000 on the Monday morning, the CME gap is 90 to 100,000. Now, most of the time it closes straight away. But as I showed you before, some of the times it stays there for months. There's a CME gap at $3,000. It doesn't always close, but the majority of the time it does. So with a CME gap at 78,000, I said yesterday when we were above 80, I think, I said we're going to come and close that CME gap, and we did. That was the first of my 3 bounces. The second of my 3 bounces is at 74,000. That's a 30% correction from the high. And as I've said multiple times, 30% corrections in a bull market are not unheard of. You get them. I don't know if it's 6 or 7 times, I can't remember how many it was. And they're more brutal the more we go up. So if you think about a correction from 15,000 to say 11,000, it doesn't sound too bad. When we're talking about going from $106,000 to $74,000, the numbers are bigger and people worry more, but it's still a 30% correction. If we break 74,000 and it's more than a 30% correction, again, I'm not overly worried. It can go to 72, go to 71. It could wick 70. But what I'm worried about is if we break the 2021 high. That's what I'm worried about, because that's technically surely a bear market. So going back to the chart here, this wick I remember as if it was yesterday, and people were in chat having an absolute fit. Okay, but look at some of these dips that we had. Okay, these dips that we had, they happen all the time. They happen all the time. And this one up here just so happens to be potentially a 30% drop. I don't know what we've come down to, and I never get this to work when I try it. Oh, look at that. He's a professional. Okay, so if we came down and did the 30% correction from that, it would bring us to about 76,000-ish. My calculations is 74,000. So 76,000, 74,000, around there. That's what's going to happen. So don't worry. And Tariq has said, we need a miracle. We don't need a miracle, Tariq. We don't need a miracle. It's not as bad as everybody is making out. If we're doing this in a bullish market with low interest rates and the money prints are on and there's no conflict and all of these things are happening, then yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. But we're not. We have to take other things into account. You know, 4 years ago, we had COVID, did we not? And that was the reason for the big dip that we had in 2021. This time, it's a different year. It's a different reason, but it's still a reason, okay? And it's a big reason. It's a big macro reason. Now, we're going to talk a little bit again. I'm not going to say this is a conspiracy theory because it's here in black and white. Now, do you remember me telling you to go and bookmark the World Liberty Financial portfolio? I've mentioned it last week and I made a video about it. I made a video about it and I said, go and keep an eye on these coins. I talked about Link and Ondo and Move. Never heard of White. I talked about the wrapped Bitcoin and of course we talked about Ethereum. Well, wouldn't you believe it? Somebody has applied for a Move ETF. I bet the majority of you out there have no idea what this is and probably don't care. The blockchain is only now moving into mainnet beta and they're applying for an ETF, okay? World Liberty Financial, which has Move, owned by the Trump family, ETF application, okay? Now, I said before the election that World Liberty Financials was going to be Trump's Achilles heel. I said it 6 months ago, 9 months ago, when this first started, This is going to be his Achilles heel. Why? This is a Trump family cash grab. This is how they all become billionaires. Because all of these tokens that are listed in here, every one of them's going to get an ETF. I can tell you now, Ondo, Move, I don't want to say Tron, Link and Aave, they're all going to get ETFs because these people wear suits and ties and manicured beards and walk around talking to people. And they are going to be doing the old nudge, nudge, wink, wink. I'd go and buy a Move if I was you because it's likely to get an ETF, which means what? It means people are going to include it in their 401ks, whatever they're called in America, pension funds. And these pension funds in 5 years' time, which have maybe a crypto element to it, that will be made up of Bitcoin, Ethereum, Move, Ondo, Link, Aave, and probably Solana, maybe Cardano along the way, and XRP. But it's just so obvious. It's so obvious. It hasn't even been around for 5 minutes and they're applying for an ETF. And they're applying for the ETF 2 weeks, 3 weeks after they started buying Move. Am I mad? Am I crazy to read that? What happens when we see the Ondo ETF application? Are we going to start believing things then? Because I certainly am. Anyway, let's move on very quickly. I don't even know what the time is. 11:36. We have plenty of time. We're on XRP, Solana. Yeah, we've got plenty of time. Good. Try not to make too many speeches. I understand yesterday morning was a Monday morning. We kept the speeches short. We're now in the week. It's a Tuesday. We can be a little bit more lenient. Ethereum investors pull billions as crypto markets face selling pressure. As I said yesterday, take everything into context. Look at Ethereum in the context of crypto. Look at crypto in the context of the entire macro economical world financial state, whatever you want to call it. So 1.8 billion came out of exchanges last week. A move towards self-custody and reduced sell pressure. Positive thing, this. The outflow coincides with a broad market turnaround. What? Crypto markets face. Okay. Is it trying to say they've sold 1.8 billion in Ethereum? Or have they taken $1.8 billion worth of Ethereum off exchanges? Because they are two totally different things. I think it means that they've sold. Oh, maybe not. Okay. Basically, if $1.8 billion of Ethereum is taken off exchanges, that's massively bullish. Massively bullish, two things. It will go into cold storage or it will go and be staked somewhere like Lido. Okay, so it's massively bullish for Ethereum. And that's longer term great. Solana yesterday, somebody staked 200,000 or 300,000 Sol to Marinade Finance. Okay, Marinade Finance pays you about 6%. You do the maths on that. Okay, that's a lot of money. Even at these prices, that person's making a lot of money. So when you see Bitcoin leaving exchanges, that's bullish. When you see $500 million or $250 million worth of USDT or USDC being minted, that is bullish. Okay, all of those things are bullish. Okay, I still think that we've got two narratives going on. We seem to have the one that's being pushed, which is Ethereum is finished, Ethereum is dead, bad. Okay. And then we have the whales, and the whales are buying all the Bitcoin. The whales are buying all the Ethereum. The whales are staking all of their Solana. Everybody else is capitulating in line with the wider market. You know, the ETFs sold off $230 million yesterday. So what does that mean? Well, if the rich people are buying and the poor people are selling, they didn't get rich by selling. They got rich by buying. Now, when you see whales start to sell, that's when there's a different conversation to be had. But of course, they're going to be buying at $1,700, $1,800, $1,900 because that's the best time to buy. Now, the price has been absolutely spanked, okay? Spanked for Ethereum. I'm going to show you the chart. And there isn't a single chart out there, apart from maybe Mantra, maybe Move, obviously. Crow Coin's done quite well. But if we look at the Ethereum chart, and again, it's not good. It's really not good. I mean, we're at 1924. We are back at where we were in July 23. Now, July 2023 was the period where we started to see the run-up towards the ETFs, which was the Bitcoin ETF, which was going to go live in January, and all the rumors were going around that it was going to be approved. And the July was the bottom. And then we saw this huge run-up, okay, where we topped $4,000, okay? We are now back at that price. So all those gains are gone. All of this crushed. All of this solid support. We didn't even touch the sides, okay? We didn't even touch the sides. Okay, it's like throwing a McDonald's chip into the mouth of a hippo. It just went in and it vanished, okay? We broke that. That was absolutely smashed. Now, clearly, we need to get back above that. That line there is $2,000. So again, with Ethereum, could there be more downside? 1,700, I think, was my next level down for Ethereum. So we're at 1,900. If Bitcoin goes to 74,000, 76,000, Ethereum's going to go to $1,700. Absolutely. It's not going to stop, okay? Just because, we've got the ETF, the narratives have been really poor. But also, the other thing to bear in mind is, had you bought Ethereum at these prices and had you sold at these prices, you'd be in profit. When a coin comes into this red zone, we call it the hit zone, the kill zone, whatever you want to call it. If the market isn't done and we go to $6,000 to $8,000 at the end of the bull run, you're going to turn your $2,000 into $6,000. Now, I can't say that's going to happen, but I don't think we're at the point now where we should be looking at a $600, $700 Ethereum either. I think when the money printer gets turned on, which it will, when inflation finally finishes coming down, which it will, interest rates will come down. The Fed will turn dovish, okay? And these tariff wars are going to come to an end, okay? Some of these things that are going on are overly pessimistic. Obviously, other things at the other end of the scale are overly optimistic. $250,000 Bitcoin by the summer was never going to happen. Rich Dad Poor Dad said we'd be at 150,000, 250,000 by last September. Okay, so you have these extremes, and the truth is somewhere in the middle. And the truth is that it's not the end of the cycle as far as I can see, and we are fighting against the global tide and Trump asserting his power in the markets. And we're fighting that at the minute. So I think we're actually not doing too bad considering where we are. So again, if you're accumulating XRP, Solana, Ethereum or Bitcoin, this is not a bad price. Okay, it's not a bad price. If you'd have said, or if I'd have said to you, at $4,000, you can get a $1,900 Ethereum, you'd probably want to buy it. That's a 50% discount. So let's not worry too much at the minute. Now then, this is really naughty. Okay, that's the word I'm going to use, because Nobody likes Brad Garlinghouse, okay? Tariq, do not panic, my friend. We've been here before. We've been here before. You've just got PTSD. Don't worry. Don't worry. If it's over for all of us, okay? And it's finished. We are all done for. I will go and make videos about something else that I can rant about. I don't know. Maybe I'll make a Trump channel and I'll just spend my days ranting about Trump. But it's not over, okay? It's absolutely not over. I've been through this before 23 years ago, and this isn't over. If you want to buy cheap Bitcoin or cheap Ethereum, you FUD the market to the point where everybody's scared. And then that sits on top of the S&P collapsing. And that sits on top of inflation going up. And that sits on top of quantitative tightening. So it all helps pressure you into worrying. I'm not worried. I'm not worried. I would, of course, have liked interest rates to have been cut. Of course, I want inflation to come down, which is two of Trump's main objectives. But you can't hold Biden or Trump responsible for the price of eggs. There was a bird flu outbreak in America. They had to I can't say that word. They had to get rid of hundreds of thousands of chickens. What do chickens lay? Eggs. That's why you're seeing $10 cartons of eggs. That can't be helped, okay? He can force down the price of oil, of course, but that can't be done in a week. And all of those people out there that believed Trump when he said it was all going to be done in a week need their heads checking. It's going to take him a few months. But this is naughty. And it's quite a while ago. I think it's about 5 years ago. Ripple pushed Bitcoin is China-controlled FUD to prove XRP's decentralization details. Now, I've just been telling you that I think that the news is is FUDding you. You know, the news channels, the Cointelegraphs, are FUDding you, okay? They're making it worse than it is. And a lot of people say, that's a conspiracy theory. Well, when does it stop being a conspiracy theory? When Sam Bankman-Fried gets arrested and they find out he's paid $2 million to the owner of a news publication to go after CZ. Is that a conspiracy theory or does that become the truth? XRP calling Bitcoin China-controlled. If I'd have said that to you 6 months ago, 12 months ago, you'd say, oh, Mike's got his tinfoil hat on again. He's going to talk about green aliens next. We have the emails. We have the emails. One of the recently cited leaked emails titled For China and Bitcoin contains the message, this feels similar to what Brad and Redacted already said publicly about Bitcoin being run by China. Another one. We could pitch this out as it would get a ton of play as Ripple's response to X. This feels like it would run opposite to our current promotional efforts around exchanges. As of right now, we have told all our current or future exchanges that we are not able to provide promotion to help. Email correspondence between the Ripple team dated 2018 indicates a straightforward discussion about how best to articulate Bitcoin's perceived centralization problems. The irony of XRP and Ripple saying that Bitcoin is centralized. So these all came out. I have read them, and they do read as bad as I am making them sound. So Ripple critic Pierre Rochard, Riot said, I don't respect David Schwartz, Ripple or XRP. For the past decade, their marketing strategy to hype their pre-mined altcoin has been to buy and promote anti-Bitcoin disinformation while pretending that the banks want to use XRP. They say and do anything to advance. Now, again, should this change your investment decision on Bitcoin or Ripple? At this moment, no. You're not married to any coin that you own. That is a fact of life. At the end of this bull run, I will be selling XRP. And I may never buy it again, but I will sell it at the end of this bull run. Whether it be 150, 250, 350, 550, 650, I am going to sell it. I bought it at 30 cents. in January 2023 to sell in November 2025. And that's when I'm selling it, whatever the price. Bitcoin is a different kettle of fish. I might not sell a Satoshi. I might sell all of it. I might sell half. But this does not change my opinion. Why? Because this isn't going to change the opinion of anybody who's going to hold Bitcoin. This is a shocking revelation today. But I will just remind you that this time last week, XRP and many other people were preparing to go and sit at the table with Donald Trump. Do you think Donald Trump cares about those leaked emails? No. Do you think investors care about it? No, of course not. It was nearly 7 years ago. It was back when they were trying to make headway. Now, we are at 214, and I said there's only a few coins that have actually held up well. This is one of them, okay? We want coins to retest the bull market support band, the moving average, whatever you want to call it, and expect it to go higher. If it does not go higher, where do I think it will come? The first probably level below where we are now is probably there, which is about, let's call it 150 for argument's sake. Further down from there, remember this is a smaller chart, what's that, $1.10. They're the two targets if we come down. To go to $1.10, that would be a 50% move to the downside. That's a bit of a kick in the teeth. But if you look again where we are right now, we are kind of hanging on to this, I suppose, level of support here. So for me, I think Ripple is still a buy. If it goes to 150, it's a buy more. And again, where can it go? I think my video from... I'll have to go and start getting some dates from when I made these videos. I made a Cardano and an XRP video quite close together. $5 to $7, I think I said for both. I know it sounds a bit strange. Both of them were doing really poorly at the time, but I think I said $5 to $7. And if I didn't say $5 to $7, I said $3 to $5, but I'm sure I said $5 to $7 for both of them. And again, I haven't changed my opinion, because my opinion is based on the total value of the asset class, as in the total value of XRP going to a market cap of this, okay? And again, it's a finger in the air, of course it is, but it's where you can conservatively see it go if we go to a $6 to $10 trillion asset class. That's what it's based on, and everything filters down from there. I think we can get there, but again, Bitcoin needs to recover, the markets need to recover, we'll see. Now, top 3 reasons why Solana price may fail to reach $200 in March 2025. I can think of 1,000 reasons why Solana won't reach $200 in March 2025, because we've got 3 weeks left, and even if we do have a recovery, even with a 50% recovery from where we are now, that takes us to $180. So I think 200 is a reach for March. I don't think it's a reach for April, but then I think I was talking to, was it Kabir last year? We talked about this, and I said there's going to be a summer lull. And he laughed. And what happened? We went sideways from March to September. So we went all the way through June, July, August. Summer lull, stuck in a range. I don't see us getting to $200 in March, certainly not. These are the reasons why. There's a death cross. That is where the moving averages cross over each other. So there's a death cross. That doesn't mean it's going to be game over, by the way. In crypto, very similar to tarot, in fact. You know, when you get the tarot card, which I think has got a skull on it, that actually means life or something like that. So death cross doesn't mean it's necessarily that bad. It can lead to a massive correction to the downside, but sometimes it can also lead to a massive rebound. The pumped up fun and meme coin, that has come to an end, thankfully, but it hasn't gone away. It will come back. The same people that were dealing in Melania and Trump, they're still extracting money from Libra. I think another $850,000 was sold out of Libra over the weekend. So they're still doing it. When they've got all of the money out that they want to get out, they're gonna come back with another set of meme coins. Why? Why is this going to stop when they are making millions of dollars? Why is Dave Portnoy going to stop talking about it, apart from the fact that he's been issued a letter by the SEC? Apart from that, they still make money out of it. The cabal, or whatever they're going to be called, these 12 or 15 people, they will come back. They're waiting for the dust to settle. Very simply put, if you've got a tree full of bananas that keeps growing bananas every single day, the monkeys will come back to get the bananas. And there's always going to be bananas. And you are the bananas. I'm afraid to say you're a banana today, okay? Because you're going to keep buying these coins. And there's a guy, is he called Gary? Gary's Economics. I don't know if you've heard of him, right? Gary's Economics, he's a good guy, okay? But he hates crypto. And I agree with him on 95% of what he says. That there's Ponzi schemes, yes. Pump and dumps, yes. They are all out to get your money. And I made a video a couple of months ago, how to avoid them. Don't buy any coin that launches for the first 48 to 72 hours. Don't do that. Don't buy any coin that's not on the exchange you're on now. Don't buy any coin with a market cap of under $100 million. Don't buy a coin that doesn't have a roadmap or a team. Don't buy a coin that's been listed by any of the rug pull researchers. There's lots and lots and lots of things you can do. But the most important thing is don't buy a coin till it's listed on your exchange. That's the major one. Of course, there are rug pulls that happen on exchanges. Trump and Melania are examples, yes. But had you waited 72 hours, you would have seen it crash. So there are things you can do to avoid it. But do not think this is a reason for Solana to die. Declining social dominance could impact Solana again. Solana has gone quiet because it's licking its wounds. We spoke about this at the time, and I said the biggest damage done to Solana was reputation. And I was talking about American Psycho. They're all sitting around the table and they're comparing their little beautiful business cards. And I said, you swap those business cards for different coins, and people are saying, oh, I'm buying Bitcoin or I'm buying Ethereum. And then the guy sits in the corner and says, I'm buying Solana, and they all laugh at him. That's what we want to avoid. We don't want people to be laughed at for having a Solana ETF or having a Solana in their portfolio. And the more crap that happens like this, the more damage is done, simply put. And again, we can look at the chart. How long have we got left? A couple of minutes. We've got to the end, pretty much. I can sum up the last couple of things without having to go and read the articles. This is the Solana chart. It's as bad as it gets. This is as bad as it gets. That line is my last line in the sand, which is coming in at about $125. We're at it. Okay, we are at that line. And like we showed you before with Ethereum, it gave away on that support. We had resistance, which became support, and we are hanging on. We are Wile E. Coyote hanging on to the end. Let's draw a little Wile E. Coyote up here. Okay, Wile E. Coyote is scared. Okay, he's scared. There's his ears. Okay, he's terrified. This gives way, we're going to fall. Okay, the $110 to $120 range is a good place to buy. But if we capitulate to $74,000 Bitcoin, this could go to $100, could go to $95. If that's the case, as Michael Saylor said, sell your chair. If you've got two chairs, sell a chair. I think a $95 Solana at this stage is an absolute gift. It's pre-ETF. It's in a serious headwind of a macro climate. A $95 Solana for me is a better return than a $1,700 Ethereum. So look at the risk reward. $100 from here is a 20% move to the downside. for potentially a $400, $500, $600 upside. So you're looking at a 4 to 5x from $100. Not bad. We're not going to see a 5 or 6x on Ethereum. We might hit $6,000 to $8,000, but I'm more sure that we're going to hit $500 or $600 on Solana than I am on hitting the Ethereum target, simply because Ethereum doesn't move as much. Ethereum's already got the ETF hype been and gone. Solana hasn't. And Solana is still the most active chain out there. So I wouldn't fade Solana, but I would look to pick it up. I will personally buy Solana at $100 if we get there. I will buy it at $95 and $90, and I will buy that Solana because it's a really good price. So anyway, let us move on very quickly. We will all be together asking for unemployment. What do you call it? Absolutely. Good. I am glad you are not. Nobody should be panicking, really. Nobody should be panicking. It's not the time to panic. Anyway, the last two articles I'm probably going to cover off on full screen because there is something else I want to show you, which is this. So then, remember, I am the Roy Keane of crypto. I don't like parties, fireworks, or smiling. Okay, that was what Roy Keane said a few weeks ago. That really tickled me because I totally agree. I think it's men of a certain age. That's what it is. Now, I am not going to be happy until the day I have sold out of my portfolio at the end of this bull run. Okay, we've got a lot of work to do. Am I sad with where we are now? No. Am I worried about where we are now? No. We have a lot of time left. And until we break certain key levels, this is not the end of the bull run. I may turn around next week and say to you, I think this is the end of the bull run. Or I might say, we might put in a lower high. We might not get back to $100,000 today, this bull run. Now, there is only one other concerning niggle at the back of my mind. And you know what I'm like. I try to be as transparent as possible. Let me bring up my calculator. Okay, just to make sure I don't get this wrong. Now, I had a calculation that I made probably 3 years ago. And I worked out the diminishing returns on Bitcoin from peak to peak. And I worked out that the diminishing return this cycle would be 1.6 times the previous cycle. And if you've been watching me for a long time, you'll know what I'm about to say. And my top for this cycle was $110,000. That was my top for this cycle. That was before ETFs. That was before Trump in the White House. That was before everything. That was in the middle of the Biden administration. And I worked out the diminishing returns peak to peak. I think I said 1.6, 1.6, 1.59, 1.6, whatever it was I said. That comes in, according to my calculator, actually at $111,000. That was my top for this cycle. And I changed my opinion when we got the ETF, when we knew we were getting Trump. Then I moved it to 150,000. I still think we've got 150,000 possibility. The further we go on in the market, if we get to May, June, July, August, it can still go to 150,000 because remember, it's a blow off top. But the niggle at the back of my mind is the fact that I said 110,000, 111,000. That's the only niggle. And I don't want to be right. And if we only go to 111,000, at least we can go there again, or it would be great to go there again. So that's another niggle. Now then, on your screen right now, tomorrow night is Quid Games. This is our interactive quiz show. Yes, interactive. You can play the game. Now, we have some experts out there. I think Tariq won. I haven't sent him his prize yet from last Wednesday. KB's won, I think, twice. Don't know who remember. Jason maybe also has won occasionally. This week, we are giving you NFTs for free. Can't say too much about it now, but we were giving you NFTs and tokens. And again, just want to point out, we're in the middle of a 30% Bitcoin correction. What you get today is not what you would have got 2 months ago or 3 months ago, okay? It's 50 or 60% less, which is why I think we might switch to giving away NFTs, okay, rather than tokens, because the token prices just fluctuate dramatically from me sending you $30 and it being worth $80 the following week to me sending you $30 and it being worth $5. Okay, that's how dramatic it is at the minute. So we're giving you the chance to win some NFTs on Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Central European Time, 6 p.m. in the UK. Make sure to come and play along. Now, excuse me, the last two articles, which I'm going to cover very quickly. X got hacked by somebody in Eastern Europe. So X wasn't working yesterday. I did put up a couple of posts about this and Maple Finance. And I also was going to talk a little bit about FIFA. FIFA are going to launch a token. They pitched it at the White House in front of the Crypto Summit. Guys, do not buy the FIFA token. Please don't buy the FIFA token. It's going to launch on Solana. It's going to follow in the path of everything else. And it's going to be a complete and utter waste of time. Don't buy FIFA. Don't buy a FIFA copy. Don't buy anything that says FIFA or UEFA. They're just going to be rug pulls and scams. Okay, that's my warning to you. Now, if you happen to be a lifelong FIFA fan and you are absolutely adamant that you want to buy FIFA, do it with a fraction of your portfolio, and you most certainly shouldn't be selling Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, or anything else like that to buy it. Buy $5 of it. Buy $10 of it if you have to, okay? Just to have the token, fine. Or if they've got a portal where you need to hold $10 of the token to get in and get some free NFTs, by all means. But it is not going to go up in value because there's no value proposition for holding the token that anybody's aware of. Now, they may surprise us and they may bring out a token that has a value proposition. But let me explain what that means. Chainlink makes money. Jupiter makes money. Ethereum, Bitcoin, Solana, they all make money. They generate fees. They make a profit. What does FIFA do with its token? Fan tokens go to almost zero. Utter waste of time. That's what I mean by a value proposition. I've been saying it for a long time before the big boys have been saying it. Projects need to make revenue and make profit. If they don't make revenue, they don't make profit, they will no longer exist. It's a simple but hard truth. You want to go and buy Helium, for example. How much money does Helium make and how much profit does Helium make? Go and look at the figures. It's all well and good saying it's got a $500, $300 million market cap. Where does it get its money from? Does it get its money from selling you those tokens? Because if it does, where does it get the money from when those tokens run out? Just asking that question. Anyway, enough of that. It's the end of the show. Thank you, Tariq, Solo Sky, Cyberpunk Danny, Kabir, KB, Kishan, Velvet Rope. Thank you all for coming. I will be back tomorrow, as always, with my same usual happy face. I'll wear my Wednesday face tomorrow, which is like my Tuesday face, maybe a little bit more tired. Take care, everybody. Don't panic. You will get your Tesla, Tariq. If it's the last thing we do, you will get your Tesla. Thank you, everybody. See you in the morning.